Hello, welcome back. My name is Derek Thompson, founder and CEO of TNT Creative Group. I'm back here with Ms. Wendy Gates Corbett. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
I'm glad to be back.
All right, so we're continuing our overall theme of professional presentations. So this has just been very insightful for me, as I'm sure it has for you. So we've covered, the importance of having a signature presentation, how to develop a presentation, and now with this week, we actually want to talk a little more about how to land more speaking and presenting in engagements. That's so important. I mean, we have kind of established that as a lead generation source. It was something I really didn't think about too much, but when I look at my own history, when I've presented at Rotary Club or Toastmasters or Women in Networking, I presented one time, or other places, that has led to either other presentations or business or a combination.
Exactly.
So with that said, by this being a great lead generation resource, how do you recommend those out there to go and about finding more opportunities?
Well, my first suggestion is to start planting seeds where you already are. You don't have to necessarily start new avenues, but if you are part of a Women in Networking event or part of a referral group or a leads group, then let them know that you're willing to speak, to be a speaker. If you're a member of a place like the City Club or a Rotary, let them know you're willing to speak.
Yes.
If you are a member of a professional organizations, like for me, with my training background, the professional organization that I belong to is the Association for Talent Development.
Okay.
Those chapters are always looking for speakers. So let people know that you're willing to speak wherever you are. And then the more that you speak, the more people are going to say, oh, I've seen Derek speak. He's great. You got to have him come talk.
Oh, yeah.
And so opportunities will come your way.
Right.
So I would say start with where you already are and inside your network. And when people come up to you afterwards and say, man, Derek, I loved your presentation. I really learned a lot. Just let them know, that's great. I would be happy to speak anywhere that is looking for speakers. Let them know, I'm happy to deliver another presentation.
Okay, well, good insight, great tips as always. Now with that said, are there any speaking engagements that you recommend that we stay away from?
Initially, as you're getting started, I would say no. I would say the more often you can speak, the better you will learn your own content and learn the way that you like presenting and sort of getting in touch with your voice.
Right.
And so that comes with practice. And so as often as you can practice in front of a live audience, the better.
Right.
Once you hone your voice and you're more confident with your presentation, I would say then start focusing on organizations and opportunities that gradually zero in on your target market. Who is it that you're trying to reach?
Okay.
If it's women, then you can gradually start saying no to speaking opportunities that are primarily men.
Right.
Or if you want to speak to business owners, you can gradually start saying no to the volunteer opportunities.
Right.
So I wouldn't say no to most speaking opportunities as you're just getting started.
Okay.
But then as you get more confident and develop your expertise and zero in on your target market, look for opportunities to speak where the majority of the audience is closer and closest in your target market.
Okay. So if I'm somebody that's starting out, I'm thinking of all these wonderful opportunities, and you named a lot of them. Is it worth even ranking the top speaking opportunities? And if so, are there maybe a top 3 that you would rank or focus on?
Well, I think one thing I'd like to add to speaking engagements is to focus on your target market, but also causes that are dear to your heart.
Okay.
They may not be a target audience for your business,
right,
but if you have a cause that's near and dear to your heart, by all means. the more people who know the value that you bring,
Right.
the better. And that's not always business focused. So in terms of ranking opportunities, I think it's going to vary depending on your target market
Okay.
and how big your market is and where they are. You know, so I think, I don't know that there's a way to rank them. And I would also fold in volunteer organizations that also need help. Volunteer organizations have boards of directors. They have volunteer teams who might be out presenting on behalf of the organization. They have people who are involved in fundraising. So whatever value you can bring to them to help them do their job better,
Right.
there's not necessarily business in that, but there's good karma in that.
You know, that's very true, because as a side note, I've noticed that I got way more business out of being involved with the volunteer organizations that I'm a part of. And honestly, going into it, I had no idea that would happen. But it was amazing early on that once you build, friendships and relationships with other people that are in your market, that people do business with who they know
That's
and who
right.
they like. So
That's right.
that definitely, I can attest to that for sure.
I can attribute a $35,000 contract that came out of 2 volunteer speeches that I did, or speeches that I did in front of volunteer audiences. So one was a leadership summit for a local women's organization, and the woman who brought me into that leadership summit also worked in a corporate environment.
Yes.
And she had seen me speak twice, and she enjoyed working with me, and I made an impact and an impression on her in a volunteer capacity. And so I was giving back as I was doing the presentation, but that led to business. I wasn't intending to get business when I
Right.
said, yes, I'd be happy to speak at your leadership summit, but it was an outcome.
The other thing that is going through my mind is, when you said that, you wouldn't necessarily maybe rank the opportunities, but you would tell people to focus on their target market. I would imagine that as people go through the process with you of developing their signature presentation, that they'll get a much better idea of who their target market is if they haven't, really honed that down
Exactly.
yet. So
Exactly.
okay, yeah. So that's another perk and reason why we all need to develop our signature presentation and get out there and give it as much as possible. Now, 2 weeks ago, we touched on getting paid to present, and that's the whole purpose of what we're talking about now are developing professional presentations, grow your brand, grow your business. But there are those out there that are professional speakers, want to become professional speakers, and want to ultimately get paid for that. Do you have any advice or guidance on how to manage that? And obviously, when you start off, you want to take everything you can so you can get all the experience you can. But then there becomes a fine line, I'm sure, to where you need to get paid and charging and all that. Do you have anything you can give us on that?
Well, I would say if you want to become a professional speaker who gets paid for what they do, you got to be good. You got to have great content, and you've got to deliver it with a bang.
Okay.
You've got to make audiences want to hear you. And so that includes practicing, that includes building your speaking skills, that includes doing your research and growing your own expertise so that the quality of what you have to present is something that audiences want and that they are willing to pay for. So that's my first suggestion. My second suggestion is to start asking when you have an opportunity to speak. You can always ask, is there a budget for speakers? Because that can help you decide whether you want to take the speaking engagement or not.
Right.
Now they might say no, but they might say yes. So I have found that a way to open that discussion to whether or not I can even get paid for doing a particular presentation is to ask, is there a budget set aside for speakers?
That makes a lot of sense. That's a very simple way to open that door. All right. Well, that concludes our conversation for this week. Join us again next week as you will have the keys all to yourself once again, and train our audience to continue to help and develop their presentations to grow your business. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to continue to collaborate with you. We'll continue to do it for the rest of the month. Don't forget to sign up for our Lunch and Learn Thursday, September 21st. We will also follow that up with an in-depth workshop in October. So you can find all of that information on our website. Until then, Wendy, Derek, we'll see you next week.